Hi, my name is Christina Huerta, and today I'm going to talk to you about my topic, which is license plate readers. So, what is a license plate reader? Well, if you looked at the back of a police car recently, you may notice there's these two objects that you've never seen before or are just curious about. Those are called license plate readers. Also known as automatic license plate recognition, license plate readers have been helping make major breakthroughs in the criminal justice system. They were originally introduced to the United Kingdom as a tool for law enforcement, but in recent years they've grown very popular. They eventually found their way to the United States, and now they're being used by many major agencies. So how exactly do they work? Well, license plate readers involve the use of infrared cameras and visible light cameras. So we have two cameras in the back of a patrol car. As a patrol car is driving, the license plate readers will take pictures of the license plate that it sees as it passes them. The infrared camera used in a license plate reader has optical character recognition, which helps make out the license plate. As it's taking pictures of the license plate, it cross-references them to a list of license plates that may be suspected of criminal activity. So if the license plate reader picks up a plate that is suspected of criminal activity, an alarm will sound, and that will alert the officers in the vehicle so that they can take the necessary precautions. The alert also includes the time and the location of the suspected license plate. So, license plate readers can be used in a stationary setting and a mobile setting. So a stationary setting, or a fixed setting, for example, may be a light post or a building. A mobile setting may be, like I mentioned before, a car. So license plate readers have a lot of pros. They can prevent license or registration issues. They can search for traffic or vehicle violations. They can catch missing or suspected persons or stop vehicles involved in an ongoing investigation. They can locate stolen vehicles or those of suspected criminals. They can double for patrol, as a license plate reader can scan more license plates than officers can. They can help bring in more revenue for an agency through the use of tickets and fines. And with more arrests and more fines and more tickets, this may ultimately make drivers more cautious when driving, and perhaps have more or less criminals on the street, which can ultimately change the face of an agency and help build stronger community relations. So license plate readers are also placed in high crime and high traffic areas. They mainly have two objectives: to be reactive and analytic. They're reactive because they help process data in real time. They're also analytic because they help investigators solve cases through the use of this data. So although this type of technology can have a lot of uses for it, what's the cost? Well, that ranges on the need, the location, and the type of the device. So the need can have an expensive cost if you're having, say, 8 license plate readers compared to 80 license plate readers. The location, as it may cost more for a license plate reader to be placed at a fixed location versus a mobile location. And type, as these types of devices also have a type of database to search, and search and cross-reference the information. So a database may be more expensive, less expensive, depending on how in-depth it is. So of course with this technology, there are definitely some limitations. For one, as mentioned before, there's a cost. Although these devices can be very useful, they do come with a price. They can also have a price ranging up to $100,000. And that's expensive when you want to have this type of technology used throughout maybe a whole agency or a whole department. With the databases that it uses to cross-reference the license plates, there are limitations. Officers may not have access to all the databases that are available. So for example, the license plate reader may not be able to access a state database or a DMV database, so that prevents law enforcement officers from looking at traffic violations or license or registration issues so that, you know, decreases from what they're trying to do. Also, the data collected from these databases may not be up to date. So, for example, collecting data from a database today may differ from the data that was put into the database 3 days ago. So if it's not updated and you're reading inaccurate information, that just may cause more issues. The camera used in the license plate reader may also misread the plate. There may be issues if the system is down. And also, license plate readers are also known to read plates incorrectly. So, as I mentioned before, they may misread the plate, but they may also read numbers maybe taken from a sign or an advertisement or maybe a house address. So, as I said, there's some pros and there's some cons. And also, some other issues include, well, for one, privacy concerns. When looking at this type of technology, although it's great, people want to know, where is the plate data being stored? What about the plates that aren't used in criminal activity? And how long is the data being stored? Some people bring this up as an issue because, for example, ongoing investigations may be able to look back at data taken from a few years ago and use that, and that may be helpful. But you know, people don't like information being stored for a long time, as it could, you know, lead for some First Amendment issues, some Fourth Amendment issues, and some freedoms, freedom issues. Is it a way for individuals to be tracked? I think that's a major concern that people bring up, or that I've read that's being brought up. You know, is it fair for the government to be tracking our movements and be tracking our locations? Lastly, this type of data may also be considered a public record in some agencies or some departments. So if a law enforcement agency or a government agency or a police department is constantly collecting this data and placing it in public view, you know, is it fair for anyone really, to look at that information, to have access to that information, to know where you are, when, you know, at this time, at this place, and that date? So those are some issues that are brought up. So just in conclusion, this technology has its pros, has its cons, as with any. And I definitely would like to look further into this type of technology. So just a quick, you know, analysis of this data. So, thanks.